to be able to plug him in at left guard next to Tyron Smith.
Did you like what Jerry did at the press conference, showing his list of his?
I mean, personally, I loved it because I got to see what a draft board looked like. You always wonder what a team do they have I don't know, Cole Strange does every team has Cole Strange as a top 20 prospects, so the Patriots weren't crazy, or how did teams they were pretty conventional with their board. I thought they were higher on Tyler than most teams would have been, but I thought, you can't find his traits round 2 or below, and I think you get to put him at left guard. You have Tyron Smith at left tackle. If he can learn anything from Tyron Smith, I mean, he's the best tackle, that we've seen in a while. So I think he's able to learn from Tyron, play left guard. Worst case, he's I think a top 10 guard in the NFL early on in his career. Best case scenario, learns how to use his hands better, unlocks that natural grip strength and power that he possesses, and you're looking at a franchise left tackle by year 2. So I think that it wasn't a crazy pick. Yeah, it's unconventional. You have Jermaine Johnson, who's an All-American Florida State guy, was at Georgia previously, dominated. His film's awesome. You had some other guys available who they could have taken. But I didn't hate the pick at 24. Sam Williams in the second round, the Ole Miss pass rusher, I thought, was, if his character was better, he should have gone there. The Cowboys did it last year when they took Kelvin Joseph in the second round, back-to-back years, taking guys who were probably high second round.
They like delinquents, don't they?
Yeah, basically. I mean, his character stuff is really bad. I don't know fully in depth, but everything I've heard was not it's just overblown. None of this is overblown, but he can get after the passer. So they've already dealt with some issues with Kelvin Joseph this offseason. Micah Parsons had character-related things last year. Kelvin did. Josh Ball did. Sam Williams this year. So not necessarily, the best of things, but they got a talented player in the second round. I probably would have not had him on my draft board, but they did, and he's talented. And they got Damone Clark on day 3, linebacker from LSU. He was their other really intriguing pick to me because he would have been a high second-round pick. But, a spinal issue caused him to fall. I thought he would have fallen out of the draft, but they took him there. And, worst case, it's a failed 5th, 6th-round draft pick, but best case scenario, you're looking at a guy who has starter upside. So I didn't hate their draft. I think when you focus on the Smith pick, Tulsa kid in the first round, it's surprising, but I didn't hate it. The position they're in also, they have a really good team. I felt in a really bad division, so I didn't hate their draft.
The quintessential part is that they were drafting Sam Williams to replace Randy Gregory, who fell in the second round in 2015 because of character issues. Was supposed to be a top 10 pick. No, that didn't happen. So there were also a lot of teams that did not have a first round pick. Arizona, the Raiders, the Browns, the Colts, a lot of teams that did not have first round picks. Are any of those teams that did not first round picks had great drafts that stood out to you with their value?
The Colts, they always have a really good draft. Just sticking with day 2, they had Alec Pierce, wide receiver from Cincinnati, who to me reminded me of Michael Pittman. You got him at 53. I like the value there. And then Bernard Raymond, who I thought would have been a second-round pick. He's a tackle from Central Michigan. He's on the older side and he doesn't have super long arms, but, I think at that point in the draft, I think he was picked 73. They got good value there. So, they just hit on draft picks. They've done a very good job in the middle rounds. Arizona always drafts unconventionally. I didn't love their class. The Bears, they didn't address offense enough in my opinion.
Do they ever?
What?
Do they ever? I mean, seriously.
Hey, they drafted Kevin White 7th overall.
Yeah, how long ago was that? And what did Kevin White do in the league? Nothing.
Get hurt.
So, I thought a lot of teams, when you don't have a first-round pick, I love the Rams' first pick, Logan Bruss at the end of the 3rd round from Wisconsin, their guard. I think he's going to be able to be a starter in the league. Arizona, I feel like, I don't know how Steve Keim still has a job. He's been able to really just parlay, Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald and the magic that they had. And then you get you fail with Josh Rosen, and then you get Kyler Murray, who, saves it again. He's done a really bad drafting. So Marquise Brown in the 1st round, I thought was an odd decision, but it's to keep Kyler around.
Of course.
Keep Kyler happy. Mm-hmm. They both played, Marquise and Kyler played at Oklahoma.
Why can't they do that for Justin Fields over there in Chicago? I feel so bad for that kid. They're just driving him to fail. And I don't care what Keyshawn Johnson says on ESPN that he thinks Justin Fields going to take the biggest leap. What the hell is he going to be leaping? He's not throwing it to anybody. He's better off throwing it to me on the field. I probably can run better routes than half the guys on that roster. That's horrible.
Don't worry, they have 10 tight ends. They'll make it work.
Oh my God, it's horrible. I feel so bad for that kid. I really do, because he's just moving towards failing, and he's got a defensive coordinator as a head coach. Eberflus, he's a good defensive coordinator. Does anybody think that this guy could coach the offensive side of the ball? You have to prove it to me before you can do it, and I don't know if he can. So that's just my opinion. As everybody knows, we are talking to NFL Draft Bible Assistant Scouting Director and Writer Jack Borowsky. All right, so it's so interesting. You mentioned the Jets. You mentioned the Giants. Before, I don't know much about this kid Clemens on the Jets. The Jets got him in the 4th round. Everybody says this guy is a mean SOB. He does a lot of things on and off the field that kind of have you shake your head. But when he puts on that helmet, he wants to rip people's heads off. And that's why the Jets love him. He's a leader, played for Texas A&M. I don't know much about him. You're a draft specialist. Tell the fans a little bit about this kid. Who is Mr. Clemens?
Funny story with him. So I've always been a decent fan of his film. I thought his tape against Alabama this past season when he was going up against Leatherwood and Evan Neal was some of the most impressive film I saw against 2 first-round picks. So I liked him a lot. And then so I was at the Combine, and they have Exos, which is a training facility. They have them all over. So Exos, what they do at the Combine is they rent out a room at the hotel, like on the basement floor, and that's where guys warm up for when they then go off to Lucas Oil Stadium to participate. And so I'm in that room, and I see this guy who arms are down to his knees. He is shredded like I've never seen anyone. Nose rig, looks like he's about to kill someone. I'm like, that dude looks like a 1st-round pick. So I asked someone, who is that? They're like, Michael Clemens. And I'm sold on him after seeing that. He looked like what you see when you look at like defensive ends, James Harrison, someone who looks like he's determined to rip your head off. His tape's really good. Injury history, old age, that's what, hurt him. But you want a guy who I think could be a situational pass rusher. He's powerful. He's got a high motor. For the 4th round, I thought he would have gotten the 3rd. So I thought that was solid value there. And, there are questions off the field as well. I'm not super familiar with them, similar to a lot of prospects. These teams do more than I do.
They say he's got a bad temper. That's what they say. And they say that when he gets angry, it's going to take like a team to hold him back. And, that's the type of player that he is. But he's a good team leader. He's a team player, and he'll back up any one of those players. And the Jets want to be mean. I mean, the Baltimore Ravens, why they were so good over the years, and that's where Joe Douglas comes from. That's that type of background. His alma mater, whatever they call it, his past. He comes from that Ozzie type of drafting board. And this kid, they say is everything that you expect an Ozzie Newsome to draft. So, I mean, that by itself could tell you who he is as a player and what he could be for the New York Jets. So that's a good sign. I didn't know anything about him, but a lot of people loved the pick in the 4th round. So I'm very interested to see what this kid could turn out to be as an NFL player.
So you were actually, the last time we had on the show, the big Darium Beavers stan as one of your sleeper. He goes to the Giants in the 6th round. My New York Giants. What do you think of that kind of fit?
I think it was a really good value pick because the Giants, day 2 and early day 3, were making some decisions that I was stunned with. It's obviously started with Wan'Dale Robinson. Then they took 2 guards from North Carolina, who I think they took around. I mean, I thought they took Marcus McKeith in the 5th round, who I thought, I could see him getting, a free agent pickup, but nowhere near that kind of value. And then Josh Ezeudu, I think that's how you pronounce it, in the 3rd round. And that's a high 3rd round pick that they're taking, a guy who I think could be maybe a below average to average starting guard in the league. So I did not like many of their draft picks, but then they come back and they took Beavers a 6th round. And he's to me very similar to Zaven Collins. I think that they share a lot of similarities. I think that they're going to get at least a phenomenal special teamer who's going to play a long time in the league. In that regard, I thought his testing was good. He's got really good size. People question his hips. They're a little tight, but he had the fastest 3-cone of any linebacker at the combine by a significant margin. And then he ran the same time basically at his pro day. And he was fast enough. His vert was really good. He tested off the charts. His instincts are not bad. He played at a big-time school, looked good against teams like Alabama. I don't know why he fell that far. I was surprised he got out of the 4th round and could have seen him go day 2 with, some of the linebackers that were picked. So I thought they got great value there, and he was my favorite pick outside of the 1st round for them. In worst case, if there's something there that, he's just missing, which is why he fell. I still think they're going to get a great special teamer, which we saw teams like Washington take Percy Butler, the safety from Louisiana, in the 4th round, who is a special teamer only in my opinion. So I thought that was great value where they got him.
We are talking
in a nutshell.